ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on today's episode, we will be talking about John Wick, Chapter 4. But before we get to any of that, I'm joined today, of course, by Marquis de 305, Nathaniel Gingrich.
What up, folks? I'm the Marquis de 305. You may know me from my obvious not Frenchness.
Yes.
And my Best Buy store, which is number 305, which is
course.
really not going to make sense for anyone who doesn't
Right.
work at Best Buy with us.
I was also going to do, I was thinking about doing Makita Hoffman, but like I don't think that makes any sense, any more sense, so felt we would just go with 305.
Yeah, Marquis is really one of those names that I think got ruined by the Marquis de Sade overall, you know.
Who's Marquis de Sade?
Oh, he's the guy that the word sadism come from.
Ah.
Yeah, so the Marquis de Sade wrote he was a libertine. He was the guy that wrote Salo or 120 Days of Sodom.
Okay.
Where his whole thing was I am going to pursue all of the fleshly pursuits and go after these things unrelentingly, and oftentimes it was involved with violence and everything. And like
of course.
His book, the 120 Days of Sodom, is just insanity, basically, and disgusting and crazy, and it's like maybe the most banned book of all time. But yeah, it's where the word sadism comes from, and sadist comes from the Marquis de Sade.
I was not too familiar.
Yeah.
There's a little English lesson for you all, or a little literature lesson, I suppose.
Sure. Yeah. I think the most famous Marquis in America, at least, is probably Marquis de Lafayette.
That's a good point.
I think that's the one most people would know.
But yeah, I guess my point was at the start of that I think it's come out of fashion. Maybe we should bring more Marquis back. What would be the modern equivalent?
Although I feel like it's more of a European thing anyway. Maybe there are Marquis still that we just don't know about.
True.
You know? But yeah, we could bring it back into fashion.
I guess
here.
In America, without a royalty, you would not have a Marquis, because I think it's like a duke kind of thing.
That kind of thing, yeah.
They're not just landed gentry. They're supposed to be in some way affiliated with the royalty, but who knows?
I believe so, yeah. I think maybe like they're cousins or something.
Who knows?
If you know, write in. Also joining us today, of course, it's Black Tie Tyler Vidalis.
Fancy.
Yeah? Dressed up?
Gotta look your best.
Yeah, you're in a tux right now. I don't know why. We're just recording the pod, but
you gotta look your best, be your best.
Yeah, exactly. Every day.
What is it he says when you get married or buried?
Yeah, married or buried.
Yeah.
That was a good line. How many is your wedding gonna be a black tie affair?
No. But
good, because
the wedding party, the boys will be all in black and white.
Of course, yeah.
Black ties and denim.
In white,
oh my God,
white
you're
veins.
crazy.
Well, no, not the black ties and denim. That's insane on the wedding.
Leah would fucking lose her mind.
I was about to say Leah would not have it.
Blue jeans, white shirt, black tie, black blazer.
You said
I couldn't do it either, though.
You said you're getting married in a
For
church,
sure.
right, Ty?
Huh?
You're getting married in a church? Is that what I heard?
No.
What I remember hearing that. Anyway, where are you getting married? Have you guys picked out a venue yet?
At the same place that the reception is at.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Which is the White House.
Nice.
Yeah, for those listening.
I love DC. You guys know I'm a big fan. I'm ready to go back. I'll show you guys around.
Tyler pulled a couple of strings that he got.
Yeah. I've got a few
that
connections.
actually is I was gonna say that actually is a place I want to try to get to, though. I've never been to
let's
DC,
go.
and everyone I know who's been says it's fun.
Oh, it's awesome.
And like the weather's actually not that bad either. Like,
go in May. Go in May.
Go in the spring and pretty much bank on good weather.
Not only that, the cherry blossoms, I believe, it happened in May or late April. One of the two. I don't know the exact time frame because I missed them. But that is like one of the big things out there is their cherry blossom trees, and everything's all pink. But it's only like a 2-week time span. or maybe might even be less than that. It is like 2 weeks that they blossom, and then you're done. And then if you hit like June, you're looking at pretty humid weather. Don't go in July or August. From July was humid as hell, and I left in August, but I remember hearing that it's pretty much the same. But yeah, go in May. Good weather and good weather and good chance for cherry blossoms.
Who's rounding out the squadron?
Of course, over there, looking to visit DC sometime soon. It's Big Table BlakeHolder.
Hey, I like the name this week too.
Yeah,
man.
Big Table.
Nothing wrong with large tables.
Yeah, man.
A lot of food, friends.
Did you guys
The bigger
know,
the better, some would say.
Did you guys
For
know
sure.
they found a very large table in England, and they believe it to be the real Knights of the Round Table table? Like they think that's what it was.
They think
That's
they
dope.
found the table.
Yeah, they found
I
the
did
table.
not know that.
Was it round?
It was round.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
Hard to
it
argue
was
with.
very large and very round, and it dated back to like the time frame of King Arthur, who I believe was a real person. I think there's a lot of fables made up about him, but I think he was a real person.
I'm Arthur, King of the Britons.
We've seen The Green Knight. That was, of course, nonfiction.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. How you doing, Blake?
I don't know if we lost Blake
Oh.
audio. There we go.
No, you got me. Good, man. Good. Pretty long week of work, but
Yeah.
things seem like they're slowing down a little bit.
Oh, that's
so
good. I knew it was ramping up for a bit
So-
for you too. So
Still mentally better, you know,
good. Yeah, right as the good weather's hitting or soon to hit.
for sure.
So good timing on that.
For sure.
Yeah, we're almost through. Daylight savings. Is this the last daylight savings? When are they done with it?
Wasn't that? Didn't that
So-
law get blocked?
Did it?
I think
see-
so.
We were talking about that at
no.
work the other day, and I thought like people looked at me crazy when I thought this was the last one. They
That's
were
what
like,
I had
have
heard as
no
well.
idea." So maybe we're wrong, Adam.
Oh my God! I could have sworn it passed.
Well, there's a simple solution here. We all just moved to either Montana or Arizona.
They
And,
don't do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
just
I've
go
always
on
wondered
mountain
how
time.
does
they
that
don't-
how does that work out then with time zones? If they don't change, are they like 2 hours ahead or behind? Them?
Yeah, generally, it's
And-
very annoying.
And also the rest of the world, do they have to like? They don't do it obviously.
What do you mean?
The rest of the world, they
Right,
don't go
they-
an hour ahead or behind. So like, are we just like switching how the time zones are for us?
Yes.
That's annoying as hell. That's so stupid.
But daylight savings time, like this time zone, if that makes sense, or this time change when we go forward, is so much better. Just like
Oh, it's the best.
mentally when it's not dark outside at fucking 3:50.
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
just
Yep.
Yeah, you lose the hour, but you
It's
your
so
life
worth it.
is better,
Yeah, you lose
yeah.
the hour, but you gain so much happiness.
Yeah.
It's I'll trade it off. Although I remember when daylight savings happened the other week, because it was 2 weeks ago or so.
I believe so.
It was bad timing for me.
Mm.
I think it was the night before one of my Halo tournaments, and I was already up too late doing like a homework assignment or something, and then I had like I had one less hour of sleep to wake up in time or something. I don't remember exactly, but it was bad timing. But all worth it. I'll trade that off any day for some extra sunshine.
I got sunshine.
It was a cloudy day,
I think so.
something like that.
On a cloudy day.
On a cloud. Ah, yeah, that's it. We got it.
yeah.
We got there. Let's just get right into to what we're watching segment here. I should actually write my stuff down. I forgot to do that.
Oh my gosh. Ding dong.
Ding dong. Nathaniel, what have you been watching?
You want me to talk about what I've been watching?
Yeah.
Hold on. I mean, I'll pull up my list, I suppose. It has been a somewhat sporadic week, I would suppose, for me.
Yeah.
Well, first I caught up on, or I was there for the first episode of season 4 of Succession. Did
You were there for like a premiere?
Well, I watched it on Sunday.
I have not watched it yet. No. Sunday was the day I flew back, and then
I see.
Monday was my recovery day.
You did make it through season 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
caught up.
Okay. Which
Well,
I
now
haven't.
I guess I'm not. But
Yeah, I haven't watched any of it. I thought about doing a rewatch before season 4, but I was kind of like, can I spend more time with this again? And Succession is another one of those shows where they're definitely trying to humanize the worst people on the planet, obviously.
Mhm.
And so there is always a little bit of apprehension when I watch it, similar to I think what I've described, where I described my feelings about Breaking Bad a lot, where it's just like,
Sure.
do I want to just watch a show that's going to bum me out every now and then?
Yeah.
But and then it was like 5 minutes in, and they were like doing the Succession style zingers to one another, and I was like, oh no, yeah, okay, I'm back in.
It's back.
On Succession. Yeah, it's fun.
Good. I'm glad this is the last season. I think if they did another one, if they did a 5th one,
Yeah.
they'd be stretching it way too thin.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. This is a good time to end.
I have kept up to date week to week on both Mando and Ted Lasso as well too.
How many? Apparently, we're already like halfway through the season on Mando.
4 eps, I think we're into.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any of it. Do I need to watch Book of Boba Fett before I go back into Mando? Would it help?
Yes, I believe it would.
Oh, shit.
At least like the last like 3 episodes.
Yeah, wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
Speaking of which, that show, not Succession, Shrinking, finished on Apple TV Plus, which I've been keeping up with as well, which was the Jason Segel, Harrison Ford one. And I think they said they renewed it for season 2. Hope they did. It was just a nice little show to have on the go in the background. So that was fun. And then I got to a couple movies this week. One was Muppet Treasure Island, which I think I've talked about in the past. It's just a classic comfort food movie for me, easy to throw on in the background. I used to watch it when I was a kid a ton. And another movie I got to, I didn't actually rewatch any of the John Wicks before I watched the new John Wick, but I did watch a movie called Collateral for the first time.
I've heard of it. Why does that sound so familiar?
That's what you were talking about in the store on Saturday, right?
Yeah, I did. It is a movie starring Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx.
Okay. That rings a bell.
And it's a movie that I remember coming out. It's directed by Michael Mann, so it's awesome. And it came out, I want to say early 2000s, maybe 2004-ish. It's one of Film Twitter's favorite movies, though, too, because it's one of the early movies that used digital photography to shoot day for night, not day for night.
Like Nope did. So they shot in the day and turned it into nighttime?
Reverse. No, not that. They was just using digital photography to shoot at night, where film photography couldn't, basically, with a different level of blacks, basically, because know on film you inevitably end up with some sort of blue or gray and that kind of thing. With DV, you don't necessarily have that.
I see.
But it is basically Jamie Foxx is a cab driver. Tom Cruise gets into his cab, and it turns out Tom Cruise is a hitman and wants Jamie Foxx to drive him around to each one of his hits that night, basically. And
this sounds like Jack Reacher. Is that the movie?
There is Jack Reacher, yeah, but no, this is much better than Jack Reacher.
Yeah, that's a film I haven't heard of in years.
Yeah, this one it mines Cruise's innate charisma for evil, which I think is a really kind of interesting place to put him in, where he can kind of just push people, Mm-hmm. He has that kind of ability to make you do something or kind of get you out of your comfort zone. But if he's actually a sociopath, that's a bad thing, obviously. Yeah. And Jamie Foxx is great at playing just kind of the everyman. Like I said, it's Michael Mann, so it's shot awesome. I really appreciate it. And it was a movie I knew. Like, I remember being a kid, seeing that trailer coming out and being like, I want to see that movie, but I know I'm not, like, old enough yet to appreciate it, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I've been saving that one for a while, so it was definitely worth a watch. And I think, in some ways, there could be, there's an argument that you could, there's a little collateral DNA in some of the John Wick universe as well, too. Yeah. But yeah, it was a really good movie, one I would recommend. I think I caught that on Paramount Plus, but they just released a 4K copy, and I'd be really interested to see how that looks on an OLED screen or something.
You know me,
I'm
a sucker for a 4K.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, other than that, my big watch for the week was John Wick 4, and I will kick it over to Adam. You got that list ready?
I do have the list ready. It didn't take me long because it's very, very short. I will say I apologize for not being. Excuse the mic. I should have asked you to mute. I apologize for not being in the episode last week. Had my brother's bachelor party, which was of course very fun and a great time. However, that also meant there wasn't a lot of time for me to watch things, since I had to like drive home from school, repack, drive home from school, repack, and then fly, and then fly back, all that stuff. Anyway, while I was in Charleston, my brother is not the one whose bachelor party is, my other brother. My board watching list. Yeah, that's where we were before we had to restart the mixer 6 times.
Yep.
My brother, not the one whose bachelor party it was, but my other brother, the one Nathaniel has beef with, he loves I Think You Should Leave.
Okay.
With Tim Robinson. Was quoted at least once every 30 minutes all weekend. Not exaggerating. Not exaggerating.
Yeah, I feel like guys just naturally like latch onto that one thing for a bachelor party weekend, and then like that just becomes the refrain for the weekend.
Yeah,
in some
but
ways.
I wouldn't even say it was just for the weekend. I know for a fact when my brother is around my cousins, like that's all they do is they love to quote that shit. My brother took off work when season 2 came out, so he could binge the whole thing in one day. That's how much. Yeah, it is too much. That's how much he loves that show.
Oh, that's dedicated.
It is. I don't think that's the show to really be that dedicated to, in my personal opinion. But you know what? Teach their own. Anyway, so we threw on a couple episodes of that while we were at the Airbnb. Threw on, we had a bunch of stuff on the background as we were watching. Watched the Elite Eight and Sweet 16. We were actually at a bar. Both my brothers went to Michigan State.
Sure.
So we went to the bar to watch them lose in overtime to Kansas State. Great game. I'm rooting for.
That was
Michigan
the Sweet
State
16, right?
It was the Sweet 16. Yeah. Fantastic game. Sucks with the outcome. Especially how like their final possession in the overtime. I think they had about 8 seconds left, and they needed a 3-pointer to win it, and they just never even got a shot off. Kind of just fumbled the ball.
That's bad.
Yeah, that's the worst part about it. It's one thing to lose that kind of game, but it's another just to lose like that in the last possession. But overall, fantastic game. Kansas State played lights out. But yeah, and then we watched a lot of the basketball the rest of the weekend. Interesting Final Four that we have left. I don't think this has been one of the crazier years in recent memory. Yeah, and then we also, like I said, threw it on the background. We had This Is the End. We threw on at one point.
Oh, sure.
That was a good one.
Sure.
I had watched like 80% of that film and never finished it a couple months ago, and finally got around to finishing it this weekend, which was nice. I'm trying to think if there's any other big things we really put on in the background. It was kind of just random stuff, but the main things I sat down to watch were those two. So both were good times. Oh, we watched the Lonely Island of Bash Brothers.
Oh yeah.
Music video on Netflix, which I had seen.
Ago. Yeah, it's like 30 minutes.
It is a 30-minute music video that has really nothing to do with the Bash Brothers, but they kind of just use that as like the riff.
Yep.
It's hilarious. But I'd seen only like the first 10 minutes of it, and so we put it on and finished that because my brother hadn't seen it, and my cousin wanted to show my brother, so we watched that. That was hilarious. But yeah, that's kind of all I watched. Oh, last thing. I forgot I wrote this down as well. I got home and watched a movie with my father, Papa Schwartz. And my sister. We watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, good one.
Wow.
Yeah, my second or third time watching it. Still pretty good. Jim Carrey, pretty good. What's the actress's name? I always forget.
Kate Winslet.
Kate, thank you. I always forget her name. Yeah, both great. Mark Ruffalo, always great. Kirsten Dunst, always great. And Elijah Wood.
Mark Ruffalo randomly shows up in Collateral as well.
Does
too. He? Yeah, playing a very early 2000s Mark Ruffalo.
Oh yeah, and he's the same in that movie.
It's funny because at the beginning of his career, he's definitely he's just tan enough to be racially ambiguous. So they have him they have him playing a Latino detective in Collateral. Yeah. And I'm just like, woo, I don't know, boys.
Yeah.
This definitely feels like a turn of the millennium casting choice here,
Yikes.
That's fucking hilarious.
That's good. Yeah, good movie, of course. And I think that's pretty much all I got to. Like I said, not much time to get to much this week. Hopefully I'll have a longer list next week. BlakeHolder. Can't wait to hear what you were watching, man.
Yeah. So I got to a handful of things this week. One thing new I've been trying to get to for now probably about 6 months. Never got around to it, but it's now on Amazon Prime. I got to Smile.
Ah.
Yeah, so that's one that came out in September, but I got caught up in the Barbarian hype, so I saw
Sure.
Barbarian instead of Smile at theater, which I probably still have that stance after watching Smile, but not that I think Smile's bad. It's actually better than I thought. So I mean,
Yep.
my expectations were kind of skewed because I got to it late, and I just seen a lot of stuff on like horror chat rooms, YouTube reviews, things of that nature. That it's a better movie than you'd expect. It was kind of advertised as like when we were seeing like X, Men,
Mhm.
bodies, all those things. It's just like a jump scare galore. And like it is that a little bit, but got a little more going to it. So honestly, I was pleasantly surprised, man. Pleasantly surprised. So that's one I probably will get around to at a later date, but that's by Parker Finn, who I don't know anything else he's done. Nathaniel, do you know anything else that director's done?
I believe this was kind of similar to the
Debut?
David F. Sandberg thing, where it was like he made that Lights Out short film, and then he made Lights Out after that. Where this was like this director's, he had like a 20-minute short film where it was basically just the first 15 minutes of the movie, where it's the student and the psychologist, because the student.
Yeah, I've actually seen that short film.
Okay, yeah, and it's the same student basically, or same actress that plays the same student or whatever. So yeah, that's the only thing I had known about it, but I believe this might be his first feature film overall. And yeah, I was of the kind of same opinion as you. It's better than it should be, but I think it really gets let down in the last 5 minutes, like a lot of like kind of horror movies. You know,
Sure.
how often are we
hard to
saying
end in
that?
horror.
Yeah, how often are we saying that refrain? Like that's something that's horror movie endings are such a subjective thing on whether or not they work or whether or not they work for you and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, having get into it, it was still pretty good. It's got some good undertones. I mean, a lot of people are saying it's a mix of like It Follows and The Ring.
It was definitely it's very It Follows.
For sure. That's I got It Follows out of it, and then once they were able to kind of figure out things around us, this does kind of have like a few of the Ring vibes in it as well.
I thought a little bit of the latest Invisible Man too, as well, with her like
good point, man. It's got a blend of a lot of things to the point where if you're a horror fan, you'll probably like it. Not groundbreaking, they're not reinventing the wheel by any means, but definitely better than like your run-of-the-mill horror movie that you would have thought this was advertised to be.
I agree.
I would say that much. So yeah, that's one. Another one I got to just kind of bored one day. I think this was like I started like on lunch working from home, but that was Beast. That's that Idris Elba film where he's
with the lions,
one in a lion.
Yeah.
In Africa,
how was that?
I mean, it's okay. It's honestly probably a little better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be really, really bad.
Better or worse than
like
Crawl?
Trailers and whatnot. Go ahead.
Better or worse than Crawl?
Ooh, I'm taking Crawl.
Okay.
I do like Crawl, sure. Context, I do like Crawl, listeners. And
yeah, Crawl's good.
Nathaniel knows, Tyler knows, Adam, I don't know if he's seen Crawl, but yeah, Crawl's awesome.
I've not, but I'm
that's
kind of
that same category of film of like kind of like the monster. But yeah, I'd pick Crawl over, but still pretty cool. I like cats. Idris Elba was awesome. So it is what it is. Nothing you got to try to tune into though. It's just a quick stream on HBO Max. Another thing I got to all 3 John Wicks.
Damn, you put in the work.
No way.
I did, man.
I wish I had the time. I would have loved to.
But granted, I didn't sit down and watch the third one. The third one was kind of background noise, to be honest with you fellas.
Fair enough.
But like I was like doing things around the house, doing dishes, cleaning, shit like that. Yeah, those are good, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're good, man. There's no way around it. I kind of hate that I'm on record saying I did not want a fourth one of these, and that's unfortunately been recorded and broadcast.
You know what? You can be forgiven. You know, you.
Hey, that's part of being human, right?
Yeah,
man?
Exactly. We all make mistakes.
That's part of the podcast. You got to make hot takes, and sometimes you
exactly.
Retract them,
sometimes you know what? Sometimes you're just throwing things out there just for the clicks.
For sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got
Your
to all 3 of those.
Your opinion is also allowed to change.
Yes, that's also very true. You can, yeah,
for sure.
that's part of being human.
So with rewatching them, I still think I'm rolling 1, 2, 3 in that order of the original trilogy. And then the fourth one, I'll kind of have my thoughts on where I'm going to slot that in at.
Yeah, pause on that because that is a question I do want to line up for you guys later.
Yeah, 1 second.
Oh.
Pause for station identification.
Yurt for yurt.
Yurt.
There you go.
Good fill, Ty. Thank you.
Got you.
Appreciate it. Oh, I think you're muted, Blake. If you're
Yeah,
talking.
I think you are as well.
That pop filter is the bane of our existence.
I'm not sure if he knows.
Yeah, maybe he can't hear us at all. I don't know what happened. You want to wave to him?
He's not looking. He's not looking, Blake.
Now he's looking.
Blake, we can't hear you. Oh my God.
God.
What is happening? This is terrifying.
For audio
we
listeners,
can't hear you.
For audio listeners, which is all of our listeners,
We
Blake
can't
just
hear you.
held up like a little Chucky doll looking thing to the camera.
It was Michael.
Yeah, it was Mike Myers.
Oh, was it? I didn't get a
Yeah.
good look at it. Don't have great viewing angles on this laptop, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Oh no, Blake's gone.
Blake is he's leaving and rejoining.
All right, I don't want to touch anything based on the fact
Yeah,
that
we can't move,
I won't.
so it's up to Blake.
Will this be our most heavily edited episode yet?
I hope not, because I have a project due tonight. Check that.
There. There we go. And we're back.
Back in business.
Man, talk about technology.
Bro, that was so weird. You just stood up and then came back and it wasn't working.
Yeah.
No, because all I did is I stood up.
Yeah, exactly. I just watched you stand up, grab the doll, sit back down, and we could not hear you.
Yeah, and I did this, and it was like reconnecting.
Yeah. Anyway, you have a Mike Myers doll. Yeah.
Yes. So
Is that
I
what you're
watched
showing us?
that. Thank you. That's where I was at.
Yes.
I got a Michael Myers plush doll, whatever you want to call it. Bought that from the store on Saturday. And that leads me to the final film I watched, and that's Halloween 2. Not the Rob Zombie
I was gonna
one from
ask.
2009, or not Halloween
Kills.
Just Kills, the
Yeah,
second one.
yeah.
Yeah, that movie fucking sucks too. Rob Zombie one's actually not that bad, but that's a different tangent. But I got to the original Halloween 2 by Rick Rosenthal, because this doll was inspired from that movie. So I went back and watched that, and honestly, this is probably only the third or fourth time I've actually watched this movie in its totality.
I'm not gonna lie
Not
to you,
as good
Blake.
as-
That's probably 3 to 4 times more than most other people at this point.
You're probably right. You're probably right. But yeah, not as good as the first one by any means. But like the hospital scene is very iconic in that one. If anyone has seen any clips from this film, that's probably what you can recall. But yeah, that's about it. Fun little plushie on that. They had a Scream one, but it was really ugly. I didn't like the way the hands looked on Ghostface. So
Fair enough.
yeah, that's all I got. Was I last?
No, but
no,
Tyler
I
still
gotta
needs
go.
to go.
Tyler still gotta go, yeah.
Oh, my bad. We'll go to Ty.
No, you're good. Make it pretty quick. Did Mando episode 4. So I'm also caught up on that. It's fucking great. I love Pedro. And that's all there needs to be said about it. Okay.
I agree.
Oh, I watched The Last of Us finale
Oh, nice.
before I left.
Congrats.
I'll let you finish, and then I would like to touch on that.
Yeah.
Well, unless you watched it as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
But
when it
not
came out.
in this one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When it came out.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and finish. But I'll bring it up at the end.
I also got 2. One that I have been wanting to go back to for a while, but didn't get to have like the chance, and that was Dune.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm in. Is this second watch?
Probably like third.
Okay.
I think I only
Third or
have one
fourth.
watch of that actually, and I have it on 4K.
It's good.
It is.
Yeah,
Good.
that movie's good.
I don't
It
need a
is good.
rewatch to know that it's good. I believe you.
Yeah. I
It,
was.
it
I'm in
looks
on that.
amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch.
And the
that.
audio. The audio is so good.
Yeah, I wish I was
The
able
way
to watch that
they
in Dolby.
Make some of those sounds for like dramatic effect just so good.
Mhm.
And Oscar Isaac,
The whole cast.
Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, the whole cast.
Yeah.
Stellan Skarsgård's the villain, right? Stellan.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. Real quick on that, Ty.
Aquaman.
Obviously, I'm a huge Denny V fan. Where does that rank in your Denny V?
It's
Like
up there for sure.
in your top three, I guess. If you can give your top three, I'm sure you've seen most of them.
Yeah, I would probably, man, Dune's up there for sure. And
I'm sure most people probably have Prisoners up
I was
there.
gonna say Prisoners is a pretty high like first potentially, but then we also have Arrival,
Yeah.
which is fucking up there. Those are probably three pretty high. Those are probably my top three. I probably can't put those in order right now, and if I did,
Okay.
I'd probably have to put Prisoners first,
Sure. Yeah.
just because of what that movie has always done for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably a really good three for sure.
For sure, man.
Stupid, funny kind of comedy that we just put on when we were just kind of hanging out in bed one night, Leah and I, just because I went to bed a couple of nights earlier than what I usually do. So it was nice to kind of just chill in bed instead of like being in my office for like 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I feel you, man.
And that was a couples retreat, so I hadn't seen that in a long time, and definitely went back to it. Funny, it's stupid, but it's good. It's fine. It's whatever. It's Vince Vaughn.
I remember Couples Retreat.
Yeah, yeah, it's not bad. I did get around to John Wick 3 in preparation. I tried turning on 2, and then I was just kind of like, I'll just do 3. It's fine. So
Yeah, probably.
I thought about doing 1, but I've seen 1 way more than the other 2. So I figured
Yeah.
if I was gonna prep, I'd want to do the other 2.
I need
For
to
sure.
I
I've
need
seen
to
it first
rewatch the other
countless
2.
times.
One, because every time I want to watch John Wick, I go back to 1.
Yeah,
But I need to go back and give 2 and 3 another watch.
yeah. They're both. I mean, they're all really fun. And then the other thing I got around to that I have not seen in a very long time. It's a 2003 flick, and that is The Core. And I don't know if any of you have seen that.
I don't believe I have.
Yeah, I didn't see it when it came out, but I know it did. Where did I recently see it? Like, I think that might have gotten like a 4K release or
I think
something
it's on
too.
Netflix.
Okay, yeah.
Is where I watched
Man,
it.
that's a straight. Is that where the core of the Earth starts spinning backwards for some reason?
No, it stops rotating.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And they basically have to go to the core
And light a nuclear bomb to restart it or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, there we go. Man. Remember when movies
the
were good?
the trailer is very in a world.
Yeah, for sure.
So but it was fun. It's not bad. Especially for 2003. It's a very sci-fi thriller. Aaron Eckhart, Hilary Swank, Delroy Lindo, Bruce Greenwood. So
Delroy
it's
Lindo.
pretty stacked.
I'm in.
Yeah, and it's really not that bad. It's just your typical kind of 2003 sci-fi thriller action. So, other than that, I got around to John Wick 4, and that is all I got to.
Yeah.
Before we get into the review, I really loved the Last of Us finale. Great show.
Yeah, it was good.
Nathaniel, now that I'm in person, I'm about to slap you after the podcast for not watching any of it.
Sounds good.
I'm a man of my word. I said I would. I'm going to do it.
I'm ready.
If we had video cameras, I'd just do it live, but it's really not going to... You know what? I'm going to add a slap sound effect, I think.
Viewers, watch me slip this slap.
Just kidding. That requires more editing, and this is already going to be a bitch to edit. Anyways, welcome, listeners, to the main review segment of the podcast. And Nathaniel, if the listener here is new or maybe they've just forgotten it, can you give them a rundown of how the review segment works?
Hello, folks. If you are new or maybe perhaps you've just forgotten the way the review segment works here on Back Row Banter is it is split into 2 sections. There is the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. From the non-spoiler section, we'll talk about the movie itself, the IMDb summary, who wrote it, who directed it, who acted in it, all that good stuff. And then we'll go around the squadron and decide if we have recommended this movie, yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. From then on, it'll be the spoiler time. I'll play the spoiler noise. And if you don't have anything spoiled for you, don't listen. But we'll be going into our deeper thoughts about that the movie at that point, going into big plot spoilers or plot twists. And then do come back because we're going to rank this movie up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we've watched on the podcast ranked. And yeah, Adam, are you back?
I'm thinking I'm back.
You're back for John Wick 4?
Oh my God, I'm back. I never left for John Wick 4. I've been waiting on the edge of my seat for 5 straight years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love this movie.
I was gonna say, I feel like out of the squadron, you strike me as the biggest John Wick fan. I feel like
I believe I do take that crown.
This is your action franchise where you were right in the sweet spot of growing up with it in some ways. Now,
I don't. I will kind of qualify that with I didn't. It came out. The first one came out 2014, I believe.
Okay.
And I didn't see it until I was 17-ish at like 2017.
Okay, yeah, I was
So,
gonna say that's
couple
easy
years.
math for you.
Yeah,
as
it
as,
is.
as
It's
it
a
is.
2000 baby. We're getting a lot of hate recently. I saw a TikTok attacking 2000 babies. I won't have it. All right, I won't have it. It's the best year ever.
Well, welcome to you're getting to be the age where the younger generation hates you.
Yeah. No, I'm starting to feel it.
Yeah,
I feel it coming.
that's what is crazy, Adam. That's slowly happening.
Yeah, it is, and I can't stop it. I don't know how.
Yeah, it sucks. It's
It
really
does.
weird.
I hate it.
Because you just want to be like, well, I do feel like I get along with a lot of you guys. We have a lot of similar points, but
Right.
yeah, they start to hate you. It's
Yeah,
really strange.
yeah, it just
Welcome to us about 3 years ago.
Anyway, yeah. So I first saw the first John Wick. I got exposed to John Wick when I was 17, and then
Wow.
yeah, and then quickly watched the other two. Or actually, I don't even watched the second one, and then I didn't watch the third one right away when it was in theaters, but did get to it pretty soon after. Regardless, that was 5 years ago when the third one came out.
Was that 5 years ago that the third movie came out?
2018.
I don't
Holy
believe
shit.
you.
No way. Hang on.
2018.
We might have to
Holy
check that.
balls.
2019,
You
4
think it's
years.
2018?
2019. I'm sorry. I
Okay,
misspoke. Pre-pandemic, so it feels like 5 years.
Yeah, that's fair.
2019.
Okay.
So still around the
When's
same
the first one?
time.
2014.
15?
So
14?
yeah, and 2
Wow.
is what is 2?
It was soon after. I
It
want
was
to say it
very soon. No, actually, it wasn't that soon after. It was 2017. I was gonna say 2 and 3 were very close because I remember seeing
That's right.
advertisements for 2, and then not too long after seeing advertisements for 3. Like, didn't they just make one of these? It was one of those for me. So yes, 2014 to 2017 to 2019, and now to 2023. Of course, this is a new movie, rated R. For a second, I wasn't sure. I was like, "There's no way this is PG-13." Rated R with a runtime of 2 hours and 49 minutes, which I believe makes it the longest John Wick. I did not check the
Yes,
runtime, so-
easily.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, 2 hours and 49 minutes, and an IMDb rating of 8.4 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
Hoo-hoo-hoo. Directed by Chad Stahelski, of course, returning to the directing role. These are like the only films he's directed. I just checked his IMDb. He's stunt coordinator on everything else. These are the only films he directs. Written by Shay Hatton, Michael Finch, and Derek Kolstad. Starring, of course, Daddy Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, Giorgio, Lance Reddick, rest in peace, Clancy Brown, Ian McShane. I'm going to skip through the bigger ones here. Bill Skarsgård, Donnie Yen, Amy Kwan. Where's the guy I'm looking for?
Is it our boy?
It is our boy, Hiroyuki Sanada.
Who?
Hiroyuki.
Making a fast claim for most
Oh my, yeah, he actually.
appearances.
We have to check that. I was thinking about that in the movie. We do have to check.
on the Entropy
Because
list.
he's at least 4. I'm pretty sure off the top of my head. This might be 5. This might be 5.
Yeah. I had him for 3. What?
Bullet
he's-
Train, Mortal Kombat at least.
He's in,
Right.
but he's in. Is he in both Godzillas? He's in one of the 2, right?
Hang
on, I have his IMDb right here.
Are you thinking of Ken Watanabe?
I am thinking of Ken Watanabe.
Are you thinking of Let Them Fight?
I think
That's Ken Watanabe.
Yeah, I am.
But Hiroyuki
I was
Sanada.
thinking
But,
for the
but still,
Godzilla,
okay.
yeah.
Bullet Train, Army of the Dead,
Okay.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, he was in a lot. Like I feel like I've seen him around a
that's
ton
3.
recently.
That's all that's on the. That's all that's on the IMDb or Entropy list from recently.
Okay.
Let me see if we have older things. Scrolling through his very long IMDb list. The rest of the stuff looks like it's a
that
lot
seems
of
to be about right though.
Japanese
I think
films.
it's 3.
I think what it was is if you look at as I'm looking at this, and I kind of remember this being the case. Mortal Kombat was not his first American like Hollywood appearance by any means, but of the late, I think it kind of rebooted his popularity in Hollywood, potentially because he did Mortal Kombat 2021 and then he did Army of the Dead, Bullet Train, and now John Wick, all back to back to back to back.
He was in Avengers too.
And he's in Avengers. We just don't have
Yeah.
that on the entry list. But yeah, that could also have been what helped kick it off too. That's the same. I don't know. That's around the same time as. Anyway, yeah, he's back. So he's this is okay. Only number 4. But shit, he's got 2 upcoming films. Mortal Kombat 2, which I'm sure we'll get to. Maybe he takes the crown. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there. Those I feel like I'm missing someone, but I couldn't tell you who. I think we're good. Those are the Shamir Anderson. Shamir Anderson. He's got a huge role in this, so I can't forget him. Who am I forgetting?
I think you said him, yeah, because I think you were just going down. But they got a Donnie Yin on there.
Yeah, I think I said him, right?
He's in Blade 2. Is he the guy who I think he is?
Probably.
Isn't he the guy who gets bit and then he tries to play it off? Like when they're in the club in the beginning?
Oh man,
Someone's gotta get the
you're going back. Yeah, hold on.
Oh my god. I saw that and I was like, that's gotta
I'm
be
looking
him.
at his IMDb and I knew I recognized him from somewhere, and I just realized he plays the blind guy in Rogue One.
Yeah, you didn't know that.
Yeah, I just realized that.
Yeah.
Just put that together.
I was literally waiting for him to say, "I am one of the Force. The Force is with me."
He plays Snowman in Blade 2. I don't know if that name rings a bell.
I think that's what I'm thinking of. I'm almost positive.
That's
crazy.
Yeah, he's like one of the squad members.
Yeah,
in
he's the guy
Blade
who
2.
has the hammer.
Yeah.
I think that's him. Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Don't mind me. I just fanboyed out on Blade.
Oh, you're totally fine. There's one other actor I wanted to mention.
Scott Adkins.
Yes, that is exactly what I wanted to mention.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure, right? It's the
plays the
mob
gold teeth.
boss. Yeah,
Yeah.
mob boss. Okay, yeah, that's who I wanted to mention. Because I'll circle back to why I want to mention him later. Anyway, that's your cast, star-studded, of course. And the IMDb summary reads as follows: John Wick uncovers a path to defeating the High Table, but before he can earn his freedom, Wick must face off against a new enemy with powerful alliances across the globe and forces that turn old friends into foes.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good IMDb summary. Spoils a little bit, but not too much. You get the gist.
Yeah, it's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, it's a 3-hour movie. It's a lot in there.
Cover some ground.
You do. We cover a lot of ground. Too much ground? We'll get into that in the spoilers. But guys, I fucking love this movie.
Yeah, for sure. I think I would assume we're all on board for that.
Yeah. I mean, I knew I'm like not exaggerating when I say like this might be my favorite action movie of all time. Like I've let it sit for 24 hours. I love it with everything that's in me. I love every part of it. There, of course, no movie's perfect. There are a few things I have gripes of that we'll get into spoilers. But this movie was 2 hours and 49 minutes. We always talk about how long runtimes suck. I could have gone for another hour, which I hope they release the extended edition of this film because the first cut was 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Damn.
And I want to see all 3 hours and 45 minutes of that.
Yeah.
So
for as much as I've bragged on movies being way too long, and like especially over like that 2:20 mark or whatever we were talking about, and I saw this at 2:48, I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about it. I will sit through 3 hours and 45 minutes of Keanu Reeves beating people up.
Oh my God, dude. It's so good, right? Yeah.
No way around it.
No way around it. I'm a recommend. To say the least.
Are you?
To say the least. I don't care if you've seen no John Wick films. I don't care if you've seen all of them. Unless you are just like for some reason against Keanu Reeves or the John Wick films for other reasons, I don't see anybody having an excuse to not see these films. Or
I think you would
film
really
especially.
just have to not.
You'd
be
have
a
to
movie
be
person. I hate
right.
to say it like that,
You're
but
right.
like, yeah.
If you like movies at all and like have any interest in any kind of action movie, you
For
are
sure.
going to
You'll
enjoy
like
this
it.
film to some level. I'm not saying you're going to go out there and see the movie and come back and give the same review I am. I think I'm particularly high on this. As I'm kind of looking on Twitter and stuff, like everyone's saying it's really good. I think it, but I'm seeing a lot of like 8s and 8.5s. This is 9.5, approaching 10 very rapidly. For me personally, I know that's very high. But yeah, this is a very, very good movie. I don't think this is a bad thing to put in non-spoilers. After 24 hours of sitting on it, I am confirmed 4-1-3-2. Lock it in.
There you go, folks.
There you go.
Okay.
Someone else talk because I can't contain myself.
Tyler, you want to go?
Yeah. I had a lot of fun. Obviously, very good action scenes. Everybody always talks about the realism and the training that obviously Keanu has gone through, and I'm sure the rest of the cast has gone through some pretty extensive training. So they always get credit there. I'm always a really big fan of the audio of these movies, and not in the sense of like the score or anything like that, but like
The
the actual
music.
footsteps, the way that
yeah.
bullets sound when they hit things, the way guns sound when they're actually being fired.
Right.
So hats off to the audio team for sure.
Also the swords too. Like that's why this
Sorry?
movie the swords. The sword
Mm,
sound, like
swords.
clash-
Yeah.
the swords. Like that's why this movie took 5 years. Imagine having to like make all those sounds in a Foley booth, and then the editor has to sync every single one up. Like dude. Like there are thousands. I don't know. As I took my audio class last semester and my like sound class and now editing class, just I think about these things constantly. I'm like, holy shit! How does any movie get released? How does any of this get done? It's actually insane.
Very much is.
Someone's job.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
A lot of someone's.
A lot of someone's, quite a
Yeah.
few. That's why those credits are so long.
8 hours a day just working on movies. Living the dream.
Just lining up cuts, just lining up sword sounds to clashes. Continue though, Ty. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. So obviously audio is a big thing for me. I invest in decent audio equipment, so that's always half the battle. So anytime I get better audio from like a movie theater or something like that, it's always good. Acting overall was still pretty good. Sometimes these guys can feel a little robotic, or like Keanu can, but that's also kind of his character. He is like a fucking machine. So it doesn't really bother me too much, especially because he does it very well. And then yeah, you get little glimpses of kind of like each movie that they've kind of pulled from those fighting scenes. Like everybody's always referring to like the club scene from 1,
Right.
or like the bathhouse scene and the cave scene from 2, and then you also get some like the outside dogfight with Halle Berry from 3. So there's different things that you kind of get input in from all 3 of those, and I think they did a really good job. I'm definitely a recommend for sure.
Yeah, I guess I'll round out the squadron here. I think I'll be the first to admit, going into the 4th one, I was feeling definitely a little burned out on the franchise in some ways. I didn't mind 3, but I thought 3 was kind of definitely this. I felt like we were starting to strain under kind of the weight of all the other stuff that we'd built up around it. There's a lot of lore, there's a lot of backstory, there's a lot of kind of symbols and unique styles to this. We've made jokes a lot in the past on, there's no cops in this universe.
Right.
Well,
no, we see the one in the first one.
Yeah, Jimmy in the first one, but like, this just this is a weird universe where there just is a subculture where all the organized crime knows each other and they're somehow connected in
You know
some
what?
ways.
They lean even more into that in this one.
Well, that's what I was
And
going to say. Yeah, is that like I think going into this, my mind was in this kind of realm of just like, like I don't remember the lore from the last ones. I went into this pretty much. I hadn't rewatched the third one. I didn't
I
rewatch
hadn't
the second
either.
one. You know,
Yeah.
and I was concerned going in that it was immediately going to be back into the level of lore I remembered from the third one, which was just this
Third
kind of
one
like,
got really heavy.
yeah, there's a high table and a whatchamacallit, and I remember John was missing a finger for some reason, but he was out and he was in, he was out and he was in, whatever. This one at least makes the smart decision, I feel like, to just be like, we got John. He needs to get to this goal, and there are these things in the way, kind of
He's
thing,
gotta
you
get it
know?
from point A to point B. There are X obstacles in his path.
And so I would say it was about 30 minutes in or so that I was like, oh, they've made a movie. They've made a movie.
Yeah.
They didn't just, just throw some shit at the wall and be like, okay, yeah, let's run this thing until it goes. They actually, they're making something here. And I think they turned me around. They truthfully turned me around back onto this again. I think to not get too spoilery into it, I think this movie is a lot of, and I think Tyler kind of alluded to this a little bit as well. It's kind of like, this is peak John Wick. This is John Wick gung fu, the John Wick storyline, and this particular flavor of John Wick.
That's the Rick and Morty spinoff.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude.
All this.
It's this particular flavor of John Wick. It will never be more John Wick than this. This is it distilled down to its purest essence. It leans into the genre that it has become at this point and finds its success, I think, in there, which in a current climate where we have been primed for the fast food movies of Marvel and DC and Disney at this point, this movie that uses its star and uses a lot of what I'll call, quote unquote, old school film techniques and leans into the more unsung and maybe unfeatured parts of films over the last few years, i.e. the stuntmen and stunt work and cause and effect action and actual martial artists, that it kind of exists, I think, in this realm of of your Avatar 2s and your RRRs of last year and your Mad Max Fury Roads of this, I think, will be the precedent for American action movies over the next few years, at least in my mind, in some ways, in terms of not necessarily honoring, but paying homage to cinema that came before, and the action cinema.
Quite a few references
that came before it, but also saying this is how we do this in 2023,
right,
and make a visceral, action stunt heavy movie and prove that we can still do this and not just be reliant on CGI, or reliant on the next big thing,
right,
or just build a movie and build a franchise from the ground up, in essence.
Reminds me, it's funny you say that, because this film, as I'm kind of watching it, as I'm sitting in my seat, reminded me in that sense of Maverick, Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, I think that is part of it. I think this kind of, I think culturally we're going through the quote unquote superhero fatigue moment right now, right?
And we're no longer alone. I'm seeing this all over the place now.
It's a full on
after
thing.
Ant-Man. Now I think Ant-Man, everyone was
Shazam.
holding out, and Shazam now too. Everyone was holding out hope for.
I think we're
MCU with Ant-Man.
The kind of current cultural climate or discourse is whatever is that the superhero wave is ending, or it has ended, or is on the way out. Basically,
I think it will never return to the peak it was at.
Right.
I think it's still quite a few years away from ending.
Right,
Unfortunately,
but the now we are in this kind of post thing. We're seeing this kind of the pendulum swing back the other way. Where you got your Top Gun Mavericks, you had your spectacle and emotional spectacle based movies. Because again, I felt I had that moment of watching it that like the last time I had it was Avatar 2, where I was just like, this has taken me to a place where I will watch one of these every 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, they're amazing. Like, I'll just watch it. It was amazing. This movie looks awesome. I love the style that they went with for all the villains, and each character feels unique down to their fight style, and kind of like, and they're not limiting it to just athletic looking man who has a gun kind of thing. Now each one is a character, and it's just, it's a lot of what I have been wanting from action movies, I think, for a while, since kind of maybe the Mad Max Fury Road era. It was the last time I think I felt like this about an action movie in that way.
In 1 year, we've had Maverick, Avatar, and now John Wick Chapter 4 is kind of this what would that be? Triplet?
Trilogy?
Yeah, sure.
Triptych?
There you go. Thank you for that English degree. But yeah, it's
yeah, I would put RRR
transitioning us out of that superhero fatigue that we saw between kind of Mad Max Fury Road was kind of when that was ramping up, and since then it's kind of taken over, and I think this is transitioning us out.
I agree. I would put RRR in that mix as well too. RRR is that Telugu movie from last year. It was or what a lot of people were calling the Bollywood movie or Tollywood movie.
Oh yeah. I didn't see that. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
it's
that's
on,
right.
It's on Netflix. It's awesome. Everyone should watch it as well too.
I would also say maybe also along the lines of Everything Everywhere All at Once, kind of sneaking in there. Maybe not quite to this level. I think we're kind of talking about two different kind of movies, but I think they do similar things for Hollywood.
Agreed. But anyways, yeah, so if you were wondering, listeners, I am a recommend as well too. Let's get into spoiler section so we can talk about this.
Yes, I would love to. We're going to go ahead. Recommends all around.
And I cannot say enough. Surprised the hell out of me. Like, genuinely, I was thinking, I was like, John Wick 4, man, here we go again. And then I was 30 minutes in, had a smile on my face. And I was just like, wow, this is a good time.
I had high expectations for this movie, and they exceeded them. So that should tell you everything that you need to know. Yes, please go watch this film. But if you have not yet, I forgive you. Maybe you had a busy weekend. If you go through to next weekend, I may not forgive you. Anyway, go ahead, check out John Wick Chapter 4, and then come back and check out our spoiler segment. If you've not seen it, we're going to go into the spoilers. Check the episode description where you can find a timestamp to jump to, where you'll be taken to the ranking of the movie up upon our Entropy list. Spoiler time.
Shit goes down.
Oh my god.
And down and down and back up.
And then
down again.
And then down again. And then then with a friend.
Yes. Yes.
I don't even know where to start. I just genuinely don't know where to start.
Well, we've talked a bit now. Blake, you kick it off.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess just bottom line is, kind of like Nathaniel was saying, the group was saying, like, this movie is a masterclass on action, like large budget movies, in terms of like the hand-to-hand combat, in terms of like the gun usage, reloading, everything, just using actual like human bodies to roll down fucking stairs and like not CGI, like just watching that. And they hone in on that. He flies down, I kid you not, that had to be probably about 40 plus sets of stairs.
Oh, dude, the gag at the end,
and the
gag
camera
at the
follows him
end,
the entire fucking time.
Yep.
The gag at the end just wrecked me in cinema, because you as the audience are going along with it too, and then when he gets kicked down, you're just like, fuck, are we gonna have to do this again?
Exactly.
You were just in the exact same headspace as John is in that moment, and that's that amazing moment in movies where you're like, you are brought into the character's headspace, and where you are just feeling the exact same things.
And you know what is so smart is that a lesser movie would have just cut to him falling to the very bottom.
Yeah.
You know, like the fact that they hold the shot of him dropping down, what is it, 8 sets of stairs, maybe a dozen?
I think it's 2 sets.
It is kind of 2 sets, but yeah.
Well, no, there's that, but one of the other points I wanted to get to in this, and that what I didn't expect is that this functionally closes the John Wick storyline with him, or it could at least, with him being dead. And then
dead,
quote unquote dead
in air quotes.
But then
ambiguous.
I went back and was kind of thinking about it and as a movie, I think I think Stahelski, if I'm reading between the lines here, I think it's also a thing of like he's like, this is my fourth go around with this. I'm going to make like the peak John Wick movie and be done with this kind of thing for a little bit. And I think too, like that's why this movie has so many kind of tie-ins and callbacks to some of the other films as well too. But I think it's a really good bookend. It's a really nice little closing movie to this.
It is. So I was curious because I was under the impression there was a fifth one.
I was too.
And so here's what happened from kind of the little to somewhat decent research that I did. They were planning on a fifth one. They were planning on filming them back to back. At some point during production, I think Paramount's the production company. I don't remember exactly. Anyway, whoever it was, the production company, or no, it's Warner Bros, right?
I don't know.
I think it's Warner Bros. Warner Bros, they were going to do 2. Instead, and then film back to back. Instead, they just said do 4. And so right as of now, I don't think they have confirmed a 5th one yet. They're kind of still playing it out, and I think that's why the ending is where it is, where like it could fit. If they don't do a 5th one, it fits well as a bookend to this quadrilogy.
Yeah.
And if they decide to do a 5th one, it makes sense that, hey, we don't actually see him stop breathing.
Sure.
And it would make a lot of sense that he changes his identity and moves to Venezuela and becomes,
John Wick.
John Wick. Oh my God. I need a pause.
Unreal.
That is. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. So John Wick Chapter 5 will be coming.
With a Latin flavor.
I think it's a great spot where they could go either way, and I think it makes sense to where the ending is where it is. So very, very happy with that. So if you were also confused, because I think we even talked about a Chapter 5 on here before, and I literally went into the sitting in my seat in the theater. I'm like, oh, there's a 5th one. So I know X and X and X is going to happen. Come out of the theater. Why do they kill him off if there's going to be a 5th one? Like, that seems kind of pointless to like kill him off only on purpose to knowing you're going to bring him back. But I guess they're not really sure. So they left it in a very good spot for them to go either way with it. I will say, I want this on record, and I'll make this quick. If there is a 5th one, I'm calling my shot. The plot of the film, John Wick discovers that his wife either didn't die of cancer or somehow someone gave her cancer in some kind of weird way, and that only makes sense in the John Wick world. And it's John Wick hunting down whoever it was that killed his wife, basically, and took him from him. Because to me, now that he's free from the table, there's no reason for him to go back in again. And I think the one storyline I can think of that they haven't fully tied up is his wife, because they kind of, they obviously reference that as his motivation, but it's not fully really tied nicely. I think that is 100% the only way they could go with Chapter 5 is something along those lines of he has to get revenge for his wife, whoever ended up killing him. That's my theory.
Yeah, I think I'm on the other side of that. I would probably prefer if they just left it off here and it does kind of complete the character.
Okay.
And just, I mean, I hope they don't do anything that would like undo everything. I guess you could do, maybe he's not necessarily dead, but I think it's been a great set of movies, 4 of them. They're all 4 hits, which says a ton. But yeah, that's my stance.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to see another one of these. Not that they're bad. It's just I'm a very big fan of when studios and directors and producers know when enough is enough, and then we can just kind of like start something else, because these are really, really good. I would hate to see this go into Fast and Furious territory where everything is just dog shit. I don't want to watch them anymore.
You got to go out while you're on top sometimes, fellas.
Yeah. But overall, I'm pleased how they kind of wrapped everything up. I think there's a nice little bow on this. I do have to say one of the big things for me that I kind of noticed is the choreography is definitely slowed down a little bit in this one in comparison to some of the other ones. And I just don't know if that's an age thing or
Yeah.
what, but you could tell when they were fighting him and Kane in like the museum, kind of glass house museum, whatever you want to call it. You can tell that when he was fighting with one or two more guys, some of the guys would stand up before he would turn around, and then they'd be kind of waiting to kick him.
Sure.
So other than that, like that's being really, really nitpicky.
Yeah.
Other than that, I didn't think anything was wrong with this. I will say, all right, so I got another gripe. The only other thing is the suits are just too powerful. I get having
Right,
Kevlar and everything wrapped up in you, but you're using it for everything, and you're just walking around like you have an overshield on, and bullets just don't hurt you.
See, I loved it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with Tyler there as well too. I think for me, I think the suits don't look as good as suits, like as actual physical suits as they used to. Like I think John Wick 2 has the best suit. I think
Yeah,
in
his
it.
suits were better. In the past.
But I like that in this universe they've established the suits at this point, and they've given everyone these suits, which
Right.
now makes the gung fu less immediate kill.
Because yes, John Wick is harder to kill, and that's kind of a cheat code, but so hard as enemies. So they eventually have to.
Right. For me,
Yeah.
that actually enabled them to do more kind of
exactly,
cooler
right.
work, and I was like,
Right.
all right, I like
I
that.
kind of like it too.
I actually had a moment where I was watching the movie and was like, okay, well, everyone kind of has one of these cool gun fu suits now. So whatever.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
keep
I'm definitely all
keep
for
rolling
it.
with
I think,
it.
it obviously drives the story, and it's a part of
Yeah.
how you extend those fight scenes for sure. I just think it's funny when every single scene.
No, you're
he's
right.
just
You're right.
pulling a lapel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
No, I get what you're saying.
I think I have my own criticisms as well too. I think the table is still not well defined, or like who they are, what they're doing.
I'd like to see more for sure.
Especially if they're making this the last movie, which I think is also maybe why we didn't feel as much that it was going to be, or like that the John Wick death comes out of nowhere, or comes as a bit more of a surprise too, because we've never got to like a definitive head of the table or anything like that as well too.
They just voted to give him power.
Right, yeah, which is cool, I guess, but like and I do appreciate that the movie was like, well, here is your single villain. This is the guy, and immediately gives him stakes. But I wish they'd been a little bit clearer on that. And I do think for me, the movie does hit a level of shoot at each other, grapple for a second, armbar into, shoulder throw into armbar into headshot like 2 or 3 times, particularly in the Arc de Triomphe scene, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
But I was like, at a certain point, I was just like, okay, little repetitive here.
Right.
But
that sequence felt pretty long too.
Then it immediately picked up again with running up the stairs and having the warrior shout out with the woman on the phone or on the radio and everything. I thought that was amazing.
Did you guys like the radio DJ?
Yes.
I didn't at first. It grew on me. I really didn't like it at first, and I was like, all right, this is kind of dope.
No,
actually.
the movie, the moment this movie, I think it just 100% sold me was when they were like, oh, you like the club scene. Well, imagine a club scene where everything's wet and there's waterfalls
that's what I thought
on the
too.
walls.
I was like, man.
And then not only that, we have the reject suit for Colin Farrell's Penguin just doing
Dude, I was thinking all I could think of was Penguin in that. He honestly might be
for sure. I think that's what they were going for.
Farrell.
To be honest with you, that's
Right,
all like
right.
anybody's thinking of.
Yeah.
And that scene and that entire club scene, to Nathaniel's point, we're like, what about the club scene from? Is that the first one that has the club scene?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they just make it wet. So I mean, they got that going on. The scene where they're on the streets in Paris and like fighting between fucking cars is insane, and it goes on for like 20 minutes.
As soon as Scott Adkins in the fat suit does the spin kick and he falls off one side of like the club and then just cracks to the ground on his back, which I think is a callback to the first one where he does a similar thing off the second floor balcony. But I was just like, this movie is amazing now. Like we're
for
giving
sure. Like as the fighting's going on, like nobody really bats an eye.
No,
Like,
they're
people are just like vibing out to the music.
they're just all
The
in
world is
K-holes.
quiet,
Yeah.
everything's loud.
All right.
It's so
I
cool.
I want to address what I think might be one of my favorite shots in any movie ever.
Oh wow.
You guys know what I'm about to say?
The overhead one,
The
where he's
top
clearing out the house.
down dragon breath, clearing the house, set piece,
Yeah.
one take. Holy
With
shit.
with the what
Dude,
are
my-
they, like an incendiary round?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
the
it's called
fire
Dragon's
rounds.
Breath.
Yeah, dragon's breath. Dude, my jaw dropped. My
That shot's
jaw
awesome.
dropped. Like it starts out as any other action sequence, and then slowly but surely, camera just starts panning up, and it keeps panning up, and it keeps panning up, and all of a sudden, I'm watching a top-down video game of John Wick taking
For
down
sure.
everybody with fire bullets, and then you know what my favorite part about it was? They cut back to the hunter dude, and then they go back to John Wick. And then they start panning back up. They start panning back up, and they go right back to it. I was like, "Let's go!" Oh my god, my jaw dropped. I couldn't get enough of that shot. And I'm watching it, thinking about how like kind of video game looking it was. And sure enough, I get home and on my whatever feed, see a clip of an interview with the director and Keanu Reeves, and they were inspired by a game I hadn't heard of called Hong Kong Massacre, I think they said it was called. But it's like another one of those top-down games, like a Hotline Miami or you have like Dead Ops Arcade, like that kind of thing. So you know, very very video game-esque and very video game inspired. But holy shit, that sequence was insane. That was
I would have to agree as far as when you get to a degree of difficulty and execution and where those lines kind of meet. They
Right.
definitely did a very good job, and they definitely set the bar pretty high for any other movie
'Cause
that kind of uses that shot. Because they
Right.
did
They set
a
it super
remarkable
high.
job.
And I would love to see like, and the fact that it's already that high, because we know now that there's gonna be
And it's gone.
We lost you.
Now recording
welcome
again.
again. All right.
Top down shot is what you're looking at. It pans to Mr. Nobody.
Great character, by the way. Loved him.
For sure.
Oh,
we
yeah.
haven't even got to talk about him yet, but for sure.
I thought
Killed
his little the role he played, the character, the tracker that only tracks people or like knows where people are but won't go after them until they're a certain amount of money and will prevent
that was
other
great.
people from getting them as well too. I was like, that's such a cool
It's a good.
that's a
Trying to
cool
buy his way out.
lore, yeah,
Right.
kind of like
Right.
thing. I was really impressed by that.
The one thing that kind of bothered me about it, and they do kind of acknowledge it, but like they never fully acknowledge how he does track him.
Yeah, I have no idea.
And I don't think they really need to answer that. John Wick asks the guy and he doesn't answer, which I feel like is enough of a response. The fact that he doesn't acknowledge it.
Yep.
But I would have loved a line like, "Oh, wouldn't you like to know?" And that would have been perfect for me. The fact that he just doesn't say anything kind of bothers me. But again, that's like such a small gripe. But
His great bit with the Marquis and Donnie Yen when he stabs him through the hand
Oh, dude,
and
I
has
had
to
to
make
look away,
the head makes the
I had to look
either
away.
pull the knife out or pull your hand out through
Yeah.
it, and we just all of a sudden we're in Saw, and I'm like, yes,
Yeah. No, I
a villain that
I looked
knows
away.
how that has stakes, that that knows how to create tension. There's so many good scenes of tension in
Oh,
this.
there's so
Yeah,
many.
and we haven't even really got a chance to give Bill Skarsgård his praise on this too. Where I
Yeah,
think Bill
when-
Skarsgård in this is awesome.
He is.
He's such like a condescending
he is.
asshole. He's the person you would assume to be the kind of the guy or he or she who's going to sit above the high table and do all these things. And yeah, for sure, he just takes complete advantage.
Yeah.
He's just a rich fuck,
and
just that's the way he carries himself,
Just
and I love it.
the smugness when he chooses Donnie Yen to be his like stand-in for himself during the duel at the end, where he's like, "Oh, I nominate a stand-in or whatever," and
a second.
yeah, second. John Wick's like, "Yeah, I kind of figured that."
Yeah.
Like, kind of thing. It's like, you asshole.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
Also I feel like it was kind of, I forgot that he was gonna be in this. And so the reveal when they kind of go up to the marquee because I feel like every villain in every John Wick has kind of been older,
Sure.
and then it's just like, oh, he's like a 30-year-old guy.
It's just Bill.
Just Bill. Yeah, it's just Bill. It's just Pennywise. You know, he's just chilling.
Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that was a good reveal. Only thing I don't like is his French accent isn't the best, but who cares?
I was gonna go. He's Belgian. He's one of those.
Nah.
He's one of those offshoot countries that speak French but aren't actually French.
Okay. Luxembourg. We'll go with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I
That's
do
funny.
think I like the kind of like unspoken kind of thing that we never actually see him fight.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's just like this, like it's like yeah, even in the criminal underworld, the rich pricks are the ones at the
Yeah.
start, at the top that don't actually do
They don't
anything.
yeah,
And
no,
John-
that's why it's awesome.
inherited
You just
power.
call shots.
Yeah, John Wick, the working man's hitman, is out there with his buddies, you know, in the trenches,
Yeah.
and like I support my blue collar hitmen in this
Of
in this
course.
economy here.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy's calling hits like watching like opera with nobody else in the
Right,
theater, just him
right.
by
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah. It's like even in this
For sure.
world, the fucking jerks are at the top. God damn it.
Yeah, this movie's awesome, man. And then you all going back to kind of the following the shot that Adam enjoys, that
top
overhead
down.
shot.
Yeah.
From there you kind of get a glimpse into John Wick and Mr. Nobody's relationship or kind of respect for each other. Where Mr. Nobody finally gets the bounty for, what was it, 40 million. So now he's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pursue John Wick myself. They get into fisticuffs, right? Things are going good. Turns out, looks like John Wick's probably gonna end up offing him, right? He has the chance. And then the big I can't think of his names. Like he's like the Italian or Spaniard guy.
Yeah. His second
He,
in command.
he kind of, the second wingman. He comes in and he has a clear shot on Mr. Nobody's dog. So Mr. Nobody has a dog with him. I don't even know if we've discussed this. Very similar to how John Wick cares for his dog in the first film.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
or in how Halle
Yeah.
Berry has her dog in the dogs plural in the third
And
one.
the fact that they
Um,
use that in the plot, where
Yeah.
it's like the relationship between man and dog, and like that's the whole reason why he spares
sure.
John Wick and
It's
just
Dog
does-
Wick.
Yeah, dog. Yeah,
Yep.
like
Yeah. So John Wick
That's
has
honestly
kind of the easy one shot kill on Mr. Nobody once after their brief battle. He sees Hitman number 2. We'll go with that. His name. He has an opportunity to kill Mr. Nobody's dog, and John Wick, instead of squeezing the trigger to shoot Mr. Nobody and kind of end this person who's trying to kill him, he opts to shoot the Hitman 2 and save the guy's dog.
Yep.
And from that point forward, Mr. Nobody just has a grand appreciation for John Wick. And I don't think he tries to kill him after that, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think that was the
Yeah.
turning point where he never tried to kill him after that. I think at that
Yep.
point he just tries to help him.
Yep.
So that was cool to kind of see the dog being come full circle. Because as we
Agreed.
know, John Wick got to this point in life because somebody killed his dog.
really quick, Nathaniel, did my gain get turned down at all?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I just felt like I'm quieter for myself. I don't know if I'm quieter.
I might have hit your headphones a little.
Okay. Anyway, I do want to give a quick shout out to the cinematographer. His name is Dan Loston.
This movie looks good.
This movie looks incredible.
Yeah.
We were talking about Dune earlier. I'm
Phenomenal.
sitting there looking at this. I'm like, this might be on par with Dune. This
Yeah.
this might be on par with like Dune and the Batman with some of like the best
Yeah.
cinematography I've seen. And
It's well lit too. You can see
you can
everything.
everything.
On the
Great
screen, like,
exposure, great color grading. You know,
Yeah.
the neon colors.
night and
have
day
been-
difference compared to fucking Snake Eyes, fellas. When you're watching them do hand-to-hand
Well,
combat. and Snake
he did
Eyes,
it.
then
This
you
guy
watch
did
this,
Snake
it's
Eyes
like,
as well,
I
Blake. No, I'm just kidding.
can't believe it.
No, he did.
Yeah, way different.
Dan did Nightmare Alley.
Oh, okay.
And he did chapters 2 and 3 of John Wick, Shape of Water. Those are kind of the bigger things he's done
Oh, he's working
recently.
with Del Toro then.
So I'm sitting there just absolutely stunned at some of these shots, and it's very simple too. Not a lot of complex things going
No,
on.
yeah, it's
As
just-
far as like the cinematography principles, I'm sure the camera work is very.
I was just gonna
complex.
say, yeah, that overhead shot.
The overhead shot. Oh yeah. That.
which I was
that's,
trying to. I think that's a drone. I think that's a drone nowadays rather than a crane.
No, it's a dolly. It's got to be some kind of crane dolly.
I think it's a
don't
drone
think that's a
nowadays.
drone. I don't think you can get it
How are you
that
gonna
smooth.
get? I don't understand how you're gonna get the crane into the position it starts in.
That's
both
a
times.
that's a indoor set without a doubt.
Well, yeah, 100%. But it's the twist. I think it's like a twist up a stairs or something like that. There was something where I was just like, I don't think you could get that without the drone in there.
I don't think to me that looked like just a regular dolly kind of tracking shot, just top down. But I could be wrong. I'm sure it's possible to do that with a drone. Just to me, how smooth that looked, I don't think I've ever seen a drone shot look that smooth.
I don't know. Wait for the behind the scenes. We'll find out.
Yeah, I'm buying that 4K. It's already pre-ordered.
What was the other thing I was going to say? There's a million fun fights in this. Great nunchucks fight, probably the
Dude.
best nunchuck fight I think I've seen.
I mean, since
personally.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 or whatever.
Yeah, personally, when I was just like, I feel like nunchucks are like the joke of the stunt industry or like anything, and then just to see them you're like, oh yeah. These are just a whippy stick. These suck. Like, if you can control these are a problem.
No, they are.
Oh,
How do you
sure.
you
Yeah,
can't stop them.
There's a few of those hits with the nunchucks where you see somebody catch one to the face and you're like, I can only imagine.
Looking at Keanu Reeves now, what, close to 60?
He's 50s at least.
50s,
yeah.
55, around there. Looking at him now with those nunchucks, I was like, he's getting a little slow. I would have loved to see a nunchuck.
I didn't feel like that.
With the nunchucks, that was the only time that I kind of noticed it.
It's weird because go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish your thought before I talk about mine.
It's just I kind of noticed it there, and I just feel like he might have been a little too old to handle those as well as he would have, even back in John Wick 1. But what I was gonna say is I would have loved to like go and retcon some kind of nunchuck sequence in the Matrix.
Sure,
that would have been awesome. That was all I was gonna say there. It's still a great fight, of course. And Keanu Reeves doing any of these stunts at his age is very impressive. So I'm not knocking anything from him.
I really felt like the third one was the one where I felt like I noticed a more slowed down, or like I noticed the seams more in the stunt work. I felt like this one, for me at least, was pretty.
This one was pretty good.
I didn't have any times where I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
if I watched it again, I would look.
I'm sure
for
there's
it,
specific shots.
On a first watch, I'm in that Dolby Atmos theater. I'm having a good time. I'm not looking for flaws. I'm just on board.
Well, have we sung its praises enough on this here episode?
No, but we don't have enough time to do that. So,
again, just really, I think for me, turned me around on the franchise, and I'm trying not. I'm afraid of having rose-colored glasses of Spider-Man No Way Homing this. But I do feel like this one was pretty significant for me. Like,
no, this will age better than No Way Home.
See,
oh, for sure.
No,
have to see.
This will age. No, this is on par with Top Gun Maverick.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, this is as Adam. I think Adam went 4-1-2-3.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, 4-1.
Yeah,
4-1-3-2. Again, but I have to rewatch chapters 3 and 2. Those could flip very easily.
Okay.
But
so pardon me. You said 4-1-3-2.
4-1-3-2.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm rolling.
4-1-2-3.
Honestly, dude, I think I'm rolling 4-1-2-3.
Right.
Which is saying a lot because the first film, I love the first film.
And this, I think, honestly, might elevate the first film, but it's still better.
First film.
Yeah, I mean,
first film was like, for a long time, was my go-to example of a film knowing what it had, knowing what it was,
Right.
knowing,
It's
not
well within its budget.
Yeah, not going out of it
Yeah.
and just knowing, being like, hey, you know what's a really underappreciated and cheap part of filmmaking? Stunt work. Let's
Yeah.
just do that the best that we possibly can.
Yeah.
Whereas the fourth one is like, here is stunt work elevated to an art form mixed with cinema. Enjoy.
Yeah.
And like that, to me, it's just and I think speaks to the lesson that we have learned time and time again at this point, that if you want to build a multi-billion-billion-dollar franchise, you can't go into it saying, I want to build a
Right.
multi-billion-dollar franchise.
Right.
Because there are...
You got to take smaller bites.
Well, we've talked about this a million times now with the Marvel and stuff and stuff, but there have been franchises now that have done this at this point. One we've talked about recently, Creed, I think, is a great example of
Sure.
a franchise that built itself up naturally.
Yeah.
I think, what was the other one that I was just on the tip of my tongue? Does pretty well overall. Well, Godzilla, the new Godzillas, I think the Godzilla and then King Kong and then King of the Monsters and then Godzilla vs. Kong, I think built itself up pretty well in that way. And Planet of the Apes,
Yeah.
that was the other one I was thinking of as well too. Planet of the Apes is another movie that I think is just that, hey, make a good movie first, and then you can kind of build off of it from there. And if you do it right, audiences will pay attention. And this movie's making a shit ton of money already, and I think is probably going to have legs.
Right.
But with that being said, I know where I'm going to put it on my Entropy list. So should we do that?
Really quick, I do want to say, did you catch like the movie references? Did you see the Lawrence of Arabia reference at the beginning?
There's a couple of them.
And then there's a Kill Bill reference.
Yep.
And I was getting Spider-Man, Sam Raimi Spider-Man vibes from the funeral scene at the end.
Oh,
With the
okay.
tombstone.
Okay.
I don't know. There's a lot of
A lot of
there's-
funerals and a lot of movies.
Yeah, exactly. There's something about it to me. It was just like, this feels very Spider-Man 3, or 2, whatever. I don't know. I think there's funerals at all three. They all end in funerals.
Everyone except the first one.
No, I think the first one ends in one.
Oh, okay. Then everyone except the.
Because it's
There's it's legitimately there's more that do end in a funeral that don't.
yeah, I think the first one is
Is Norman.
It's Norman, yeah, and the second one, who dies in the second? I don't know.
Who cares?
Anyway, yeah, I was just like, oh, I know those references. I appreciate them.
The real question here is, fellas, and I'm gonna have to reintroduce. I know we've talked about it brief on pod, but now that we have seen John Wick again in action, do we think Mr. Wick is taking the bride from the Kill Bill Quentin Tarantino universe? 1v1.
I think so.
I think I still gotta go the bride. I think she gets in close. And
I don't know, dude.
plucks out an eye.
He was practicing his 1-inch punch or whatever the hell it was called.
True.
So, if he's got that superpower now too, I think it's a fair fight. I think he takes it.
Yeah.
I still think she takes an eye.
For sure.
That's my bet. I'm gonna hedge my bet.
But as we've seen in this film, he can fight. It's possible to fight with no eyes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is I'm hedging my bet. Is I think it could go either way, but I think the bride at least gets an eye.
Oh, I see. Okay, sure. So you're kind of taking the over.
Yeah. I'm qualified.
Yeah, right. You're hedging your bets.
I am hedging. Yeah.
Okay. Other thing I want to say really quickly, I don't think Kane is fully blind. That is my fan theory. We're gonna move on from there.
I love the bit where he stabs him in the hand as they're walking up to the.
Oh my god, yeah.
to the thing.
Yeah.
So you owe me one.
One thing I do want to say really quickly, and it's not the fault of the director or the writers or anything, it's just the harsh reality of life, is with Lance Reddick passing away recently.
That was
it
rough.
was really
That was
hard to
really
kinda
tough.
see
Yeah.
him
Yeah, it was
early
so
on in the
recent.
film, where it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, I think
And
everyone.
There's really not much you can do at that point.
Yeah, I think.
No, there wasn't. There was totally nothing you could do with it. But that was one of those realities where I'm, oh man, this sucks.
Yeah.
So
That was a
rest in
rough
peace.
way to start off the movie.
I think a great portion.
sure.
I think a big portion of the audience was going in with it too, being like, "Oh, cool, we get to see Lance Reddick
No,
one
I
more
was.
time."
I was.
And then
yeah.
it just happened to be his character is the one that they make the big emotional thing about, and it was just like, "Fuck!" Like it could have
Yeah.
very easily been the Ian McShane character too,
very
like-
easy,
For sure.
yeah.
For sure.
and it just happened to be that one. And it's just it's a bummer.
It's a huge bummer. And it's at no fault of the filmmakers. At
No,
all.
No, by no means.
It's just unfortunate. It's just really unfortunate. It just sucks also because I would kind of like we said already, I would have loved to see kind of one last hurrah for Lance Reddick, and the fact that he's out of the film so early does suck. All right. Well, on that cheery note. Anyway, let's get out of spoilers.
We're out of spoilers.
Just now.
Let's get another review.
Just in that
So
sec-
let's-
for a second,
let's
I thought you meant we already went out of spoilers, and I was like, that just like,
No.
and then.
I was just
Did
letting
we
you
just
know.
spoil
I
this
got you.
entire fucking.
All right. Well, welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're gonna go ahead and throw up John Wick, Chapter 4, up upon our Entropy list. It's our big list of every movie we've reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all in one fantastic list. It's essentially how we rate our movies. If you want to reference it for yourself, you can check the episode description. I just clicked the wrong link on the show notes. That's what I wanted.
I have my list. As I referenced earlier, I have my choice.
I see.
You
Put it
do? I got the list up. I want to hear. Go ahead, Nathaniel. This is fucking.
I have this at 33, just below Kill Bill Volume 1 and directly above Training Day.
Okay.
Which also puts it 5 spots above original John Wick, which we already have on there. So yeah, I think, as I said earlier, I think for me, this is going to set the precedent for American action in over the next 3 or 4 years at least. I think Kill Bill is probably another one of those movies that kind of set the precedent for American action, 10, 15 years ago. In the same way, I think there would be, you could probably chart it from like the Kill Bill and the Jason Bourne era into the John Wick era as well too. So I think for me, that's where I'm going to put there on there. I think it makes sense, and it's a space where I'm hoping in 6 months I'm not like, hey, I really put John Wick too high. But yeah, that's where I'm going to have it. 33 below Kill Bill, above Training Day.
Okay. I'm with you, bro. I've actually got pretty much the same spot. I'm going 34, so I'm going above The Northman, below Training Day. So pretty much same ballpark. I saw the first John Wick. I was like, I want to go above that. I saw where Kill Bill was, and I was like, I don't think I can put it above Kill Bill. But then I kind of did some brief rumblings in like the top 20, looking like seeing the Batman and seeing Spider-Man No Way Home at 28.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is tough. Where I do feel like this film should be above those two. But it's hard. We gotta try to even this thing out somewhere. So yeah, I'm rocking 34, which is one above Training Day. Excuse me, one behind Training Day and one.
Ty?
I'm actually going to be a touch higher.
Okay.
I think that as much as we enjoy Kill Bill, it's just had longer to kind of sit around and gain that
Marinate.
nostalgia factor. And,
Sure.
I don't think we get Kill Bill I don't think we get John Wick without having Kill Bill. So I think this is one of the times where the student kind of surpasses the teacher on this one for me. And I'm actually going to be right below the movie I just watched, Dune, and I'm actually going to put this above Back to the Future. As much as that might make Adam cry a little bit, but he is also probably a little on board. I am going to be at 24.
Thanks, Ty.
I got you, Don.
That means a lot, dude. Means a lot, man.
All right, Adam. The one on who this choice will be hardest.
Fuck you guys. I'm at 15.
Okay.
15. Below
15.
Midsommar.
Over 9 days?
Above The Lighthouse. Over 9 days.
Wow.
I love 9 days.
Okay, this is
just
a big one
it's
for
a
you,
different
then.
type of movie. I love the scale is bigger.
Hold on. I feel like I need to properly.
No, I'm done shouting.
I need to probably do this for you though.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's a big one, Adam. I know 9
days.
is
I
something
know,
that's
and
close to mine, and
I
your
sat
heart is
there.
like
I sat there for a second, dude.
the best new movie we've seen in a very long time, and you
Yes.
jumped right in there.
I was gonna say, was there any part of you that did this approach the whiplash threshold?
No,
Oh,
not quite. Midsommar was the bar. Midsommar was the bar.
Okay.
And I do like this better than Lighthouse. I love Lighthouse, fun movie, but I think this is just overall much more watchable and rewatchable and fun, and
that's
it's
true.
got a lot more going for it. And 9 days, it's tough. I honestly like on my personal enjoyment, I might like 9 days more, but as I'm watching John Wick Chapter 4, like there's just so much going on here in the filmmaking aspect of things too, that I think it edges it out. And also I think John Wick is also just like a better film for an overall like just general audience, whereas like 9 days is much more niche. So with those things factored in as well, it edged it out for me. Because I do love 9 days, and it does hurt a little bit to put it above. But as I just I kept knocking them down one by one. Back to Starship Troopers is also a gatekeeper for me into like the top threshold, and I was like, you know what, like this I think breaks that for me, breaks Avatar. Back to the Future breaks it. Well, hang on, pause. Doesn't break it in the terms of like my overall like rankings, but where it is, we're Back to the Future is already too low on the list, so it's just like it's kind of like one of those I have to kind of ignore. So I was okay because I think just 24 for me is too low for this. Dune, I enjoyed my enjoyment watching John Wick was greater than my enjoyment watching Dune. Dune is great. I love the cinematography is fantastic, but as a story and just like overall enjoyment factor of the movie itself, I did enjoy John Wick more. Same thing with the Batman. Batman was great as well, and I thinking back to it, I still agree that it's above Dune, but I think just my expectations were really high for Batman, almost as high, actually just as high really as my expectation for John Wick, and my expectations were exceeded in John Wick, and they were just barely met with the Batman. Batman almost missed a little bit from where my expectations were at, and I felt good about kind of putting above that. But yeah,
so 15.
15.
Okay.
All of that being said, 15. Averaging all of our rankings out, it gives us an average ranking of 26.5.
Which will be Starship Troopers.
Oof. Do we want to, before I find...
I'm going over Starship Troopers.
You're going over, okay. I'm going over, as you guys already know. Ty?
I mean, I did in my initial voting process.
Now it's head-to-head,
so
though.
I'm okay
Now it's
with-
head-to-head.
Not that
Does that change anything?
that's what I want, but it's definitely it's a toss-up for sure. It's a really well done movie.
Yeah, I mean, does it have to be unanimous? Because I would probably put Starship Troopers over John Wick 4, but
I don't think it has to be unanimous, but I think
I'll let
it's
you know.
majority.
I'll let you guys know then. The John Wick wins the IMDb rating.
right, yeah. So just go with that.
Starship Troopers is only a 7.3. Fuck you guys. What is
Putting it
that?
as under protest.
Okay, under protest, noted. I'll put that in the notes on their John Wick 4.
Thank you. I think
Nathaniel, episode 140, Nathaniel's under protest. Okay.
and that's where it'll be. 26
Yeah, 26.
above Starship, below Avatar 2.
Did you guys think there was any chance of it going above Starship Troopers coming into this week? Before
No.
you watched it?
No, I didn't.
I didn't. I thought it was...
I mean, I feasibly thought it was possible, but I'm not high on Starship Troopers.
Sure.
So
Sure.
take that with a grain of salt.
Another one down.
Dude, I loved that movie.
That movie was fun as fuck.
I really,
I was
really enjoyed
that.
that.
I seen the 240 runtime, fellas, and
I did too, man.
do
I was a little apprehensive
I
about
think
that as well.
In my mind, like my best hope was like a Bullet Train. That's where I was like kind
Sure.
of managing
Yeah.
expectations.
sure.
And then I think I was like, it was really when they got into that like, we're not
non-spoilers,
yeah,
so
fuck,
if
okay.
you can reference it non-spoiler,
Never mind.
if you can.
There was an early fight scene in Japan where I was that really just like I was like, man, this
Is it the lobby?
yeah. I was like, man,
Sure.
this is a movie. Like this is a movie that is like
Yep.
knows what it is doing
Yes.
and like
Yeah.
and knows film. Like it truly knows film.
Right. We never even even
No,
talked
there's
about that
so many
hotel
other things
at
Yeah.
all
we
in
didn't
in
talk about.
non-spoilers.
The fight Nathaniel's talking about, or the shot Nathaniel's talking about, like, I
Be
kid you
careful,
not, man.
by the way.
That
Be
scene
careful.
probably lasts like 23 minutes.
No, yeah, I was just about to say that. Like that whole sequence is so long.
Someone said it was 38 minutes. It's 38 minutes,
I know.
which is
and it
I
felt
know it
felt
was
so
long.
yeah, I knew it was long towards the end, but I was like, this is like awesome. This is-
someone-
they keep
Fucking
they keep
amazing.
going, and I keep loving every new
someone
thing.
I saw on Twitter was like, that's longer than the first Strokes album. Like
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I do hope they make an extended edition of this extended cut. I don't think they will, but the quote I saw from the director was, "Our first cut was 3 hours and 48 minutes," and my thought was, "We're fucked." So
that's amazing.
I would love to know what they cut out from this, because the fact that they cut out an hour almost, and we're still able to give us like a very coherent film. and
yeah,
they-
we'll talk
the
about
end.
it after. We'll talk about it after. I
Sure.
got a few ideas where they might have been having
Yeah.
some
yeah.
stuff.
Wish we would have brought that up in non spoilers, but
Yeah, that's fine.
maybe we'll keep recording and throw it in after the pod or something. I don't know.
We'll see.
Or I can toss it back into the non spoilers or spoilers segment. Anyway, next week's review, we actually don't have it officially scheduled. Nathaniel and I were talking before the pod, Blake and Tyler, about doing Dungeons and Dragons next week. It does come out this weekend.
Please no.
I actually am relatively excited for that, and I'm okay with it.
That's what I also said, but we also knew Blake would be a rough go of it.
If I'm outvoted though, fellas,
Did you see the
majority
trailer for it, Blake?
yeah, I have.
Still didn't like it.
It actually has
It's got Chris
one of the-
Pine.
one of the- it does, and the other guy's actually in the Quarry, the horror video game I was playing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like the taller, light skinned gentleman. I hate that I don't know the actor's name to give.
Yeah, he's the guy from Detective Pikachu.
Oh yeah.
as well, too. Yeah.
Florence Pugh is in it.
He's lying to you, but don't worry.
I was like, wait a minute. I don't think
I was just hoping.
Yeah.
I don't think we're talking about the
Michelle
same movie,
Rodriguez though is actually in it. If you like Michelle Rodriguez. She's no
It's a
Florence Pugh.
movie. It's a movie I'll be seeing regardless. If like, I feel like we torture Blake on these all the time, though. So if he really doesn't want to see it,
Yeah.
there
This
will
is
be
one.
other
This is one I'm
movies.
okay with Blake vetoing if you really don't want to see it. We do enough Marvel movies.
like I said, I'll be seeing
we'll
it regardless
figure it out, fellas.
because Waz is gonna be we're gonna be seeing it. We're a Dungeons and Dragons household in here now.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'll have to do post-pod Adam. It might not sound great because I didn't bring home my USB mic because I wasn't anticipating post-pod Adam. So it's gonna be from my Astro headphones.
I mean,
If you figure it out there, you can also
or I
do
can.
it
You
there.
know
and
what? I was.
just let
Yeah.
Blake know.
That's a good point. I can just record it here.
also
Never
I
mind.
have USB mics. You can borrow one too.
Fantastic. We'll figure it out. Even if it is for my Astros, it won't be that bad. Anyway. Yeah. Post-pod Adam.
What up, folks? We're
What
back. It's Postpod Nathaniel and Postpod Adam
Special guest. Post-pod Nathaniel joining us for the first time ever on pod. Actually,
on Postpod.
on pod in general.
Sure. Postpod Nathaniel.
General pod. Post-pod Nathaniel's here. Very, very glad to be having you with me today, Post-pod Nathaniel. As we discussed after the podcast was over, listeners, you missed it, of course, but me and Post-pod Nathaniel were there. We just skipped out. We're not going to do Dungeons and Dragons. Blake decided to veto that, which is well within his right, of course. And then we were shuffling around some ideas, a few movies here, a few movies there. And then I was just, throwing out, hey, what if we completed our little Lord of the Rings run?
There
You
we
know?
go.
Started all the way back in, what was that, September?
Somewhere in there.
Waited about 5 months to do number 2
Yep.
in January, February. And
Mhm.
I don't want to get too far away from number 2 to watch the third one because I'm just going to forget all the characters all over again. So here we are. We're going to run down Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, extended edition on my end. I feel free to watch whatever edition you want on yours, but we'll be watching that. I think that's still streaming on HBO Max, and I think the non-extended edition is on Netflix. But regardless, you'll find it, you'll watch it, and you'll join us for our review next week. I think that's it.
Bye, folks. Thanks,
Um,
Postpod Adam.
I got a timestamp. Dude, this is gonna be a bitch to edit.
Yeah, it's not gonna be fun.
What happened? This was supposed to be the easiest, quickest,
It's-
most fun episode of our lives where we loved the movie. Everyone's 10 out of 10, and we get out and done
3 hours
before
later.
9, and yeah.
We still got 4 minutes. Come on, let's close this thing out. We'll get out of here.
All right. All right. So go check out whatever Postpod Adam told you to watch. I can't wait to watch it. Do we have a 5-star review?
Nope, no 5-star review. But if you want to give us
Oh.
a 5-star review, give us one on Apple Podcasts, and I'll read it out. It can be mean, it can be funny, it can be nice, you can be whatever it wants. Just don't be evil.
I just remembered. Papa Schwartz sent us an email.
Oh my gosh, a Papa Schwartz email.
Papa Schwartz email. I think the first ever.
Hold
Papa
the
Schwartz.
presses.
Yes.
Thank you.
David Schwartz writes in. His email is titled Tall Tale. He says, "Hello, fellas. Watched Tall Tale per Nathaniel's suggestion. Had never heard of it before. Nice family flick. Best way to describe it. It is John Wick, Pecos Bill in this film. Pecos Bill.
Pecos.
All right, I had it right the first time. Meets Field of Dreams. So
Yeah?
John Wick meets Field of Dreams. That sounds interesting.
I'm telling you, man, Tall Tales is a great movie.
All right.
It harkens back to days of yore.
Does it?
Yes.
Okay. I'll have to keep that in mind. He finishes it out by saying, "Keep up the great work, men. P.S. Roadhouse is terrible." I asked him about it. 'Cause
yeah.
We were talking about it 2 weeks ago or so.
Yeah, I did watch Roadhouse recently.
And you were saying how Papa Schwartz has definitely seen that movie, and I asked him about it. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know why they enjoyed that movie," because you were saying how it's worth a watch, and he's like, "No, it's
I think
not."
it is. I think it is
He
worth
was
a
like,
watch.
"It's absolutely not."
I think it is.
So now I'm torn. I don't know whether to watch it or not. Now I kind of have to watch it to find out if I should have watched it.
That's
Shit. Anyway, thanks, Papa Schwartz, for writing in. If you want to be like Papa Schwartz and send us an email to get read out on pod, you can do so by sending us a message to backrowbanterpod@gmail.com.
Thank you, Papa Schwartz, by the way. You want any more film recommendations, you let me know.
He watches so many things from what we're watching, by the way. I don't really
Good.
report all of them back to you. I report some of them, but all the time I'm calling him, giving him every couple of days while I'm at school, every once a week, whatever it ends up being, and he's like, "Oh, I checked out this from the pod," and I'm like,
I want to know his pod favorite, his one that has been his favorite. That's been
There was one that he really loved that he was like, I would never. I think Train to Busan might be his favorite. That's definitely one that he likes.
Train
a
to
lot.
Busan's
There's
awesome.
there's one I'm forgetting that he's actually brought up multiple times. I think that I can't remember off the top of my head that he got from one of you guys. But he watched Kiki's Delivery Service from you. Watched Train to Busan. He's watching a lot of stuff from you guys' what we're watching, and I hope the other listeners are too. Well, it's a good segment to have. Apparently, that's Papa Schwartz's favorite.
There we go.
If you want to be like Papa Schwartz, like I said, write us an email, backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. If you also want to be like Papa Schwartz, share the podcast. I know he does. Share with a friend, a family member.
An assassin.
An assassin?
Yeah. If an assassin knocks on your door and says, "Hey man, it's your time," just maybe on the way out say, "You know what, friend? I've been listening to a new podcast, and I think you may need to check it out. It's about four guys casually bantering about their favorite movies and whatnot."
Right.
And that man lived, and I am him. So there you go, folks. That's a little peek behind the curtain there. Can recommend Back Row Banter.
I can as well. While you're doing that, make sure you follow the show on Twitter @BanterRow, on Instagram Back Row Banter Pod, and our YouTube. We're just Back Row Banter. Go subscribe to us there. It's free. Why not? I think that's it for our plugs. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Yo, Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. I'll be on there I'll be on there logging some things. Rate them out of 5 stars. Had a pretty good review for John Wick. I don't think I put down thoughts for Smile, but I may actually go back and kind of put the pen to paper, as they say in old-fashioned terms. That's all I got. We'll go popcorn. We'll go Nathaniel.
What up, folks? You can always find me on Letterboxd and Twitter @NSGangrek. You can find me on Instagram @NathanielG92. Sandpiper Taste is my other podcast. But there may be something on the horizon too. Who knows? I always say I'm working on something, but it's never true. Or is it? Bum, bum. Tyler, where can the people find you at, sir?
Twitch.tv/Ultra Bajo. Hopefully I'll get some time to potentially redo some things on there and, maybe revamp it a little bit.
Little facelift?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Get people interested.
Gotta keep it fresh.
Instagram, Letterboxd, and Twitter are all Tyler Dowse, VID, ALES.
Adam?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter @Aish24, on Letterboxd @Aish, and I'm gonna replug the twitch.tv/Aish. I'm gonna try to figure out how to bring the stream back because I'm playing Halo on my PC and streaming off. I'm gonna try to stream off my MacBook like Tyler suggested to me. I've got some pretty exciting news I had happen last week while I was away. I did get signed to an esports org
Hello.
for Halo.
Hey.
Thank you.
Love to see it.
Yeah, you do love to see it. Really exciting, actually. The team's called Team Meta. They're out of Baltimore. They
just like The Wire.
Of course, just like The Wire. Yeah. They have their elite team. They have a second roster, or their first roster is a top 8 team with a bunch of great players that I'm all familiar with. So they're really good, and they wanted to bring on a second roster. So I randomly received a DM on my Twitter the other last week, and they were like, "Hey, we'd love to talk," and I was like, "Hey, I would love to talk too." And so we talked about it with the org, talked about it as a team, decided to sign on. So it's just going to open up a lot of opportunities to get better and improve and get my name out there. So very, very exciting stuff. But one of the things they want us to do is stream. So I'm going to make an effort to get the stream back up on my MacBook somehow and get that going. But yeah, very exciting. It's very, very nice to have some stuff start to pay off, But anyway, that's it for me. I think that'll do it for episode 140. 140. Nice even round number there. Thank you all for listening, especially if you made it this far into the episode. You're my favorite type of listener. We'll be RB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we will be RB.
Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate all your support. And I'm going to stick with my theme from last week. Check on your friends. It's always a good thing to do, even the ones you don't talk to very often. And don't take things for granted. And we'll be RB.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support. We wouldn't be able to continue this podcast if it wasn't for you. We'll continue to say, try to at least do one thing you love every day. That way we know you're living the best life you can. So we'll be RB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Apologies for missing the ep last week, but I heard that I
Oh,
didn't
good.
miss much with 65.
No, that movie, honestly, very well could have been argued to be at the bottom of the entry list. Like,
Really? You think it could have been
Could
worse
be an
than
argument.
American Pickle?
I
have yet to.
forgot where
I
we
do
put it
plan on. I
on
do.
the three of us. It came out to like it was like one. Let me pull up the list. It was like 160 something. I want to say.
Jesus. Okay.
We
I
did
edited
not like it.
Yeah, I edited and
It
uploaded
was
the
bad.
pod. I did get as much as you guys did not like it, but I haven't listened to like the full episode yet. I just kind of went around and edited where
was
I
bad.
needed to. Yeah, I got that vibe. So maybe it was a good episode and a good week for me to miss. That's disappointing though. I had some hope for that one.
I think we all did. I think that was too. I think that's also why we might have been like a little bit harsher on it than some people would say
Mhm.
normally. But there was some unforgivable
Really?
like just logical jumps
Ooh.
of just things happening because they needed to happen,
Okay.
which will make a good contrast to I think this week.
Yeah.
Which
For sure. For sure.
Um.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty into talking about this one, fellas. I think it should be a good chat.
I think so too.